Have you noticed that things just don't respond the way they used to? You wake up tired, the desire is there, but the firmness, the circulation, the confidence feels slower. Many men tell me, "Doc, I guess this is just aging." But what if it isn't? I'm a board-certified urologist, and I've worked with thousands of men over 60 facing this quietly. There's one simple morning habit most men overlook. Tell me where you're watching from. If this matters to you, subscribe and stay with me. But here's what most people don't realize. The slowdown you're feeling is rarely just about age. Before we talk about what to eat in the morning, you need to understand what's really happening inside your body. Most men who sit across from me, good men, strong men, men who worked hard their entire lives, look at me and say, "Doctor, I guess I'm just getting old." And I understand why they think that. After 60, changes start stacking up. Energy dips, sleep shifts, recovery slows, and yes, testosterone gradually declines. But here's what I gently explain to them. Aging plays a role, but testosterone is not the main driver of circulation problems. The real issue in most cases is blood flow, and that changes everything about how we approach the solution. An erection is not just about desire. It's not just about masculinity. It's not even primarily about hormones. It is a vascular event. That means it depends on blood moving smoothly through very small arteries. When stimulation happens, those arteries must relax, widen, and allow blood to rush in and stay there. If that flow is strong and steady, firmness follows. If it's weak or delayed, confidence drops. Now, here's something very important. The arteries that supply blood to the penis are smaller than the arteries that supply your heart. Think about that for a moment. Smaller pipes clog sooner. Smaller vessels show stress sooner. So when circulation begins to decline, anywhere in the body, this area often shows symptoms first. Not because you're broken, not because you failed, but because the plumbing there is simply more delicate. So what actually causes that decline? Over time, blood vessels can become stiff. They lose flexibility. The inner lining of those vessels, called the endothelium, can become irritated and inflamed. When that lining is healthy, it releases a powerful chemical called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is your body's natural signal to relax blood vessels. It tells them, "Open up, let blood flow." Without enough nitric oxide, vessels stay tighter, blood flow becomes restricted, and response slows. After 60, nitric oxide production often decreases. Why? Because the endothelium becomes less flexible. Years of stress, processed foods, blood sugar spikes, and silent inflammation wear it down. It's not dramatic, it's gradual, but the effect adds up. Inflammation is one of the biggest hidden drivers. When inflammation rises, nitric oxide breaks down faster. Blood vessels lose their smooth response. Blood sugar spikes make this worse. When you eat refined carbohydrates or sugary foods, insulin surges. That surge increases inflammatory chemicals in the bloodstream. Those chemicals irritate the vessel lining, and irritated vessels do not relax well. Now, here's something most men have never been told. What you eat in the morning sets the tone for your circulation for the entire day. The first hour after you wake up is biologically powerful. Your hormones are shifting. Cortisol is naturally higher. Blood pressure is adjusting. If you introduce a spike of sugar or skip breakfast entirely, stress hormones remain elevated longer. Elevated stress hormones tighten blood vessels. Tight vessels reduce circulation. This is why some men notice that their morning erections are weaker or inconsistent. They assume it's purely hormonal, but often it's vascular. It's about blood. Vessel tone. It's about nitric oxide availability. It's about inflammation. And here's the part I want you to hear clearly. Circulation is dynamic. It is not fixed. Blood vessels are living tissue. They respond to what you do. They respond to what you eat. They respond to patterns. When you consistently support them, they can regain flexibility. Nitric oxide production can improve. Blood flow can strengthen. I've seen it happen in men well into their 70s. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. The key is giving your body the right building blocks early in the day before inflammation builds, before sugar spikes, before stress compounds. Most men focus only on medications or testosterone levels. Very few focus on vascular nourishment first. And now, here's what most doctors never take the time to explain. It's not only what you eat, it's when you eat it. The timing of certain nutrients in the morning can amplify their effect on nitric oxide. And Vessel flexibility. Eaten at the right moment, they protect circulation for hours. Eaten at the wrong time, their benefit shrinks because the first food I recommend is something many men already have in their kitchen, but they're eating it at the wrong time. But here's the vessel protecting fruit, what most people don't realize. Sometimes the most powerful medicine in your kitchen doesn't come in a bottle. It doesn't require a prescription. It doesn't sit behind a pharmacy counter. It's simple. It's familiar. And for many men over 60, it's already in the refrigerator, just not being used the right way. The first item I want you to understand is blueberries. Blueberries matter because they improve blood vessel flexibility. That's the key benefit. Not hype, not magic. Flexibility. And flexibility is everything when we're talking about circulation. Let me explain why. In simple terms, blueberries are rich in natural compounds called anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are what give blueberries that deep blue, almost purple color. But inside your body, those pigments act like quiet protectors. As we age, oxidative stress increases. Oxidative stress is like internal rust. It damages the lining of your blood vessels. When that lining becomes damaged, vessels stiffen. And when vessels stiffen, they don't open fully. If a blood vessel cannot open fully, blood cannot enter fully. And when blood flow is reduced, especially in small arteries, response slows. Now, think back to what we discussed earlier. The arteries that supply circulation down there are very small. They are sensitive. They are often the first to show signs of vascular stress. So even a slight reduction in flexibility can be noticeable. Anthocyanins help reduce that oxidative stress. They calm the inflammation inside the vessel lining. They support something called endothelial function. The endothelium is the inner lining of your blood vessels. When it's healthy, it releases nitric oxide. When nitric oxide is released, vessels relax. When vessels relax, blood flows. So when you eat blueberries regularly, you are helping that lining work better. You are helping nitric oxide do its job. Better nitric oxide means better blood flow. For men over 60, this is not a small detail. This is foundational. Now, here's where many men unknowingly make a mistake. They drink blueberry juice and assume it's the same thing. It's not. Juicing removes fiber. Without fiber, sugar absorbs quickly into the bloodstream. That quick spike in blood sugar triggers insulin. And when insulin rises sharply, inflammation follows. Inflammation damages the same vessel lining we're trying to protect. Whole blueberries behave differently. The fiber in whole blueberries slows down sugar absorption. That slower absorption keeps blood sugar stable. Stable blood sugar reduces inflammation. Reduced inflammation preserves nitric oxide. And here's something even more important: timing. When you eat blueberries in the morning, especially before eating refined carbohydrates or starches, they help blunt the blood sugar spike from the rest of your meal. It's almost like putting down a protective layer inside your bloodstream before the day begins. Lower blood sugar spike means less inflammatory stress on your vessels. Less inflammatory stress means nitric oxide remains active longer. And that means smoother, more reliable circulation. This is why I tell my patients something very specific. Not a complicated protocol, not a supplement stack. Half a cup of whole blueberries in the morning. Not blueberry pie, not blueberry syrup, not blueberry yogurt loaded with added sugar. Whole blueberries, fresh or frozen, simple. You can add them to plain Greek yogurt. You can eat them alongside eggs. You can sprinkle them over oatmeal as long as that oatmeal isn't sweetened with sugar. Consistency matters more than quantity. You don't need a large bowl, you need a daily habit. Now, I want to be very honest with you. Will blueberries alone completely restore circulation? No. No single food works that way. But blueberries create the foundation. They protect the vessel lining. They reduce oxidative stress. They support nitric oxide production indirectly by improving endothelial health. Think of them as preparing the soil before planting seeds. Without healthy soil, nothing grows well. Without flexible vessels, nitric oxide cannot work efficiently. But here's where it becomes even more interesting. Even if your blood vessels are protected, even if inflammation is reduced, your body still needs the raw materials to actually produce nitric oxide. Protection is one side of the equation. Production is the other. And this is the part most men overlook, because without the second key morning nutrient, nitric oxide production remains limited no matter how many blueberries you eat. But here's what most people don't realize. Protecting your blood vessels is only half the equation. You can calm inflammation. You can improve flexibility. But if your body doesn't have the raw materials to actually produce nitric oxide, circulation will still fall short. This is where we build on the first step. Blueberries help defend the vessel lining. Now we need to fuel the system itself. Let's talk about raw pumpkin seeds. Raw pumpkin seeds matter because they provide two critical nutrients. The nitric oxide nutrient, most men lack zinc, and arginine. Zinc supports testosterone balance. Arginine supports nitric oxide production. And when we're talking about men over 60, both of those pathways matter. Let me break this down clearly. Testosterone and circulation are connected. They are not identical, but they influence each other. Testosterone supports libido, mood, muscle mass, and vascular tone. When testosterone is low, energy drops, motivation drops, and even blood vessel responsiveness can decline. Now, here's something many men don't hear often enough. Mild zinc deficiency is common after 60. Not severe deficiency, not dramatic, just low enough to matter. Zinc absorption decreases with age. Digestive efficiency changes. Medications can interfere. Appetite shifts over time. Levels quietly fall. And zinc plays a direct role in testosterone production. If zinc levels are low, your body struggles to maintain optimal testosterone balance. Lower testosterone can contribute to weaker vascular response and reduced confidence. But that's only half of why raw pumpkin seeds are powerful. They also contain arginine. L-arginine is an amino acid, and your body uses arginine as a building block to create nitric oxide. Remember nitric oxide, that chemical messenger that tells your blood vessels to relax and open without enough? Arginine nitric oxide production slows down, even if your vessels are protected by blueberries. Even if inflammation is reduced, without sufficient arginine, the signal to open those vessels becomes weaker. This is why some men take arginine supplements, and in certain cases, supplements can help. But food-based sources tend to be gentler, more balanced, and safer for daily long-term use. Food provides nutrients in combination, not isolation. Now, here's what matters more than most people think. They must be raw. Roasted and heavily salted pumpkin seeds are not the same. High heat can oxidize the delicate oils inside the seeds. Oxidized oils increase inflammation. Excess sodium can increase blood pressure and strain blood vessels. That's the opposite of what we want. Raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds preserve their natural nutrient profile. About 1 tablespoon in the morning is enough. You don't need a handful, you don't need a full bag. Just 1 tablespoon. You can sprinkle them over your blueberries. You can mix them into plain yogurt, or you can eat them separately. What matters most is consistency. And here's something many men don't realize about pumpkin seeds. They contain healthy fats, particularly magnesium-rich fats, and plant-based omega compounds that support blood vessel flexibility. Not all fats are harmful. In fact, the right fats help maintain the elasticity of your arteries. Flexible arteries respond better to nitric oxide. They open more easily. They allow blood to flow smoothly. So now think about what you've created with just 2 simple foods in the morning. Blueberries protect the vessel lining and reduce oxidative stress. Raw pumpkin seeds provide zinc to support testosterone balance and arginine to fuel nitric oxide production. Together, they address both protection and production. That combination matters. But here's where most men unknowingly sabotage their progress. They eat the right foods, they make the effort, they feel proud of the change, and then they wash it all down with something that quietly shuts down nitric oxide within hours. And I see this every single week in my clinic. Men doing 80% right and 20% wrong. And that 20% cancels the benefit because the wrong morning drink can shut down nitric oxide faster than you think. But here's what most people don't realize. Even if your body produces nitric oxide, that doesn't mean it stays around long enough to do its job. Production is one step, protection is another. And this third food plays a very specific role in that process. Let's talk about pomegranate. Pomegranate matters because it protects nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. Your body is constantly producing and breaking down chemicals. Nitric oxide is powerful, but it's also fragile. Inflammation destroys it. Oxidative stress destroys it. The same internal rust that stiffens blood. Vessels also neutralizes nitric oxide before it can fully relax those arteries. Pomegranate contains potent polyphenols, natural plant compounds that act like shields inside your bloodstream. These polyphenols reduce oxidative damage. They help preserve nitric oxide so it can continue signaling blood vessels to relax. Think of it this way. Blueberries help your vessels relax by improving endothelial health. Raw pumpkin seeds help your body produce nitric oxide through arginine and support testosterone through zinc. Pomegranate helps that nitric oxide last longer once it's made. It amplifies the effect, and that that amplification matters, the amplifier effect especially after 60. As we age, oxidative stress rises. Years of environmental exposure, stress, diet, and metabolic changes increase free radical activity. That activity shortens the lifespan of nitric oxide. So even if your body makes it, it disappears quickly. Pomegranate slows that breakdown. Now, here's what's important. Fresh pomegranate seeds are best. They contain fiber along with the polyphenols, which helps regulate blood sugar. The second best option is 100% pure pomegranate juice. And I emphasize 100% pure with no added sugar. Portion size matters. About 4 ounces. Not a tall glass, not a large bottle. Too much juice introduces too much sugar, and sugar increases inflammation. If inflammation rises, you cancel the benefit you're trying to gain. Moderation protects the effect. When used correctly, pomegranate supports blood flow in peripheral arteries. That includes the smaller arteries responsible for erectile firmness. Over time, men often notice subtle changes. Morning firmness becomes more consistent. Hands and feet feel warmer. Circulation feels steadier rather than unpredictable. But there's something deeper happening beneath the surface. Pomegranate has been shown to slow arterial plaque progression. Plaque is a buildup inside artery walls. When plaque accumulates, arteries narrow. Narrow arteries restrict blood flow. Restricted blood flow reduces response. Now, here's a connection most men never make. The penis is often the first warning sign of cardiovascular issues. Because those arteries are small, they show restriction earlier than coronary arteries do. So when you improve circulation here, you are often improving vascular health system-wide. This isn't just about performance, it's about longevity. It's about protecting your heart, your brain, your overall vitality. The same nitric oxide that supports firmness also supports healthy blood pressure and oxygen delivery. And this is why I approach the issue the way I do. Not from embarrassment, not from fear, but from physiology. Now imagine the combined effect of what we've discussed so far. Blueberries help protect and relax your vessels. Raw pumpkin seeds provide the building blocks for nitric oxide and support testosterone balance. Pomegranate preserves nitric oxide so it lasts longer and improves arterial resilience. That trio creates a powerful morning foundation. But here's what most doctors never take the time to explain clearly. Even if you consistently eat blueberries, raw pumpkin seeds, and pomegranate, you can still sabotage your circulation before noon. And it happens silently. You won't feel it immediately. You won't see a flashing warning light. But inside your bloodstream, something shifts. A habit you may think is harmless begins tightening vessels again. It begins raising inflammation again. It begins breaking down nitric oxide again. Because the real issue isn't only what you add in the morning, it's what you must stop doing immediately after. But here's what most people don't realize. You can do 3 powerful things right in the morning and still undo all of it with one simple habit. You can eat blueberries. You can, the hidden morning mistake. Eat raw pumpkin seeds. You can have pomegranate, but one common morning routine quietly shuts down circulation for hours, and it matters more than most men think. The hidden mistake: high sugar, refined carbohydrate breakfasts, white toast, sweet cereals, pastries, flavored coffee creamers. On the surface, they seem harmless, small, normal, traditional even. But biologically, they create a chain reaction inside your bloodstream. Here's what happens. Refined carbohydrates break down quickly into glucose. That causes a rapid spike in blood sugar. When blood sugar spikes, insulin rises sharply to push that sugar into your cells. High insulin levels trigger inflammatory pathways. Inflammation irritates the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, the same lining responsible for producing nitric oxide. When that lining is inflamed, nitric oxide production drops. Less nitric oxide means vessels don't relax properly. When vessels don't relax properly, circulation declines even if you ate the right foods first. And there's more. High sugar intake increases the formation of advanced glycation end reducts, or AGEs. AGEs are compounds formed when sugar binds to proteins in your body. Over time, AGEs stiffen blood vessels. Stiff vessels cannot expand fully. And if they cannot expand fully, blood flow remains limited. Now, here's something especially important for men over 60. Your body does not clear sugar as efficiently as it did at 40. Insulin sensitivity declines with age. That means blood sugar spikes last longer. And when the spike lasts longer, inflammation lasts longer. Reduced circulation lasts longer. Many men tell me, "Doc, I eat healthy." But then they add sweetened creamer to coffee, or drink a glass of orange juice, or spread jam on whole wheat toast. Small things add up. Instead, I tell my patients something simple and repeatable. Protein first, fiber first, healthy fats first, blueberries, raw pumpkin seeds, pomegranate, then eggs, plain Greek yogurt, oatmeal without added sugar. This sequence stabilizes blood sugar. Stable blood sugar protects nitric oxide. Protected nitric oxide supports circulation. And this only works if you stay consistent. Not once a week, not when you remember, daily. Because blood vessels respond to patterns, not random effort. And this brings us back to something I said earlier. Most men believe this decline is permanent. They assume it's just aging, but circulation is dynamic. It responds, it adapts, it can improve. Because the problem you thought was aging may actually be your morning routine all along. But here's what truly matters when you step back and look at the bigger picture. At the beginning, I asked you something simple. Have you noticed things don't respond the way they used to? That slower firmness, that quieter confidence, that private moment of wondering. Maybe this is just aging, and I want you to hear this clearly now. Aging does change the body. That's real, but circulation is not fixed. It is not locked in place. Blood vessels are living tissue. They respond to what you do repeatedly. They can regain flexibility. Nitric oxide levels can increase again. Inflammation can decrease. And it doesn't start with something extreme. It starts with small, consistent morning choices. Blueberries to protect your vessels, raw pumpkin seeds to support nitric oxide production and testosterone balance, pomegranate to preserve and amplify circulation, and just as important, avoiding the sugar spikes that quietly shut the whole system down. This isn't about trying to be 30 again. It's not about chasing youth. It's about protecting function. It's about dignity. It's about waking up and feeling that your body still responds when you ask it to. Not perfectly, not like it did decades ago, but reliably. And when circulation improves, something else improves with it. Confidence. You're not broken. You're not too old. You may simply need to change what happens in the first hour of your day. And that is something fully within your control. If this conversation resonated with you, I want you to pause for a moment and understand something important. You are not alone in this. Millions of men over 60 notice changes in circulation, firmness, and confidence. But very few talk about it openly, and that silence can quietly turn into shame. Shame that doesn't belong there. Here, we don't ignore it, we don't joke about it, and we certainly don't sensationalize it. We talk about it calmly, honestly, with science and respect. If you appreciate that kind of approach, steady guidance without hype or fear, consider subscribing, not because you're broken, not because you need fixing, but because your health deserves consistent attention. This is a community of men who want to age with strength, clarity, and dignity. Men who understand that small daily habits protect energy, sleep, testosterone, and circulation over time. And in our next discussion, I'm going to share something that surprises many of my patients. Why what you do at night may influence circulation even more than what you do in the morning. Until then, take care of your vessels. They take care of